Okay folks, we'll get this thing started off. The audio on this track really sucked. I'm still trying to work through the microphone stuff, but I didn't want to lose this footage because this is the bowl blank that I cut. So this is the one for this set of videos. Right there I just drilled the hole for the wormwood screw. I used the Nova, by Pt.2 worm screw. I've got it in the 4-inch jaws. I prefer those. I just set it up to the slowest speed, set it on there, let it spin. Once it stops spinning, or once it started, I stop it, then snug it down by hand. I lock the spindle in, then unlock it, let it go. So now it's secure, it's going. These are just roughing cuts with a pull cut. It's Ellsworth crown tool that I got from Rockler. It's a 5/8 bowl gouge. I kept the 60-degree nose angle on it, and I just pull cuts and removing material. As I get towards the corners, I like to use more of a scooping motion rather than a pulling motion. That handles the air gap with the corners and the flats better than the pulling motion. A lot of people complain about getting beat to death by the corners. It's your angle of attack at them, and you want that scooping motion more than a pulling. So then I switch around. The last inch and a half is really rough, so it's better to just come from this side. And then I'm also dressing up the top to get the vibration out of the way. That way we can get more revs out of it. So we'll speed it up to 1,000 RPMs and start really hogging the material away right here. You can see that's probably 3/8 half-inch ribbons when I get in there and get it. It's just a roughing out process, none of it's finishing. Here I'm kind of complaining about the bark inclusions in here, or the knots, and because I wanted to core this bowl and I wanted to maintain the structural integrity. Here I just got the dividers. You tip the left side in, you never use the right or it'll go flinging into your face or across the shop. I just kind of barely touch it, and if it's not lining up with the right side, then you move it over a little bit until it is, and then you put a deep groove in. Here I switch to a 1/2-inch bowl gouge with a 45-degree fingernail to cut the tenon better. I like to bring the chuck I'm going to use up and test it. These are 4-inch bowl gripper or gripper, power gripper, whatever. You can put a really long tenon in it, and it's got the serrations in the jaws for doing long hollow forms or whatever. It's a heavy-duty jaw. Same 4-inch diameter that's the worm screws in. So it's good. Now I'm just I'm wasting away this bowl trying to get rid of the stupid inclusions. I kind of wish I didn't. I probably took another 1/2-inch to an inch off the diameter of this bowl trying to get rid of that crap, and it went all the way into the middle. So it was for naught anyway. Okay, so we find out that it's good enough. We unscrew it. Take this chuck off. I mean, I guess I could easily just undo the wormwood screw and use those jaws, but I just kind of have the habit to just take that chuck off and put the other one on. So it's almost like it's just that chuck's my dedicated worm screw, basically. So coming up, I'm trying to decide whether I want to use the McNaughton or not. I bought it used off Marketplace from a turner that never really figured it out, and I decided to go ahead and do it. A lot of people say that it's the most learning curve and the more difficult coring system to use, but I don't know, it seems to work all right. You just pick which knife you want.
I used McNaughton.
So here I'm going to clean up the face so that we don't skip across it. Just more pull cuts, clean it up, and then I didn't do a fancy layout. I just guessed at everything. I decided to make the blanks extra thick because I've never used the system, so I wanted room for error. I hollowed out the middle one so that it wasn't a solid core, it was a hollow core. It should dry more evenly. And then I just swapped out the tool rest for the McNaughton one. I had one tool in it already and it wasn't right. It was more for a shallow bowl or a platter. This is the second more shallow of the set. I think it came with 3. And so I like this shape a lot better. I'm just kind of moving it back and forth, looking at the angle that it's going to move through the bowl, and I like it. Then I'm just checking how I want to start my angle of approach. And I just get to coring. I didn't mark anything, I didn't measure anything, I just eyeballed it and decided it would be good enough. And whether it was lucky or not, it worked out for me. A few things, I go in and I don't like it. It doesn't feel like it's making rivets. So I grab my little honing card, a little diamond hone, and I touch up the blade and it works a whole lot better. But immediately I realize that it's cutting, but the motor's dragging, and I left it on the middle pulley. So I move it over to the more higher torque pulley. You want high torque when you're coring. You want the most torque available. It isn't about the RPMs. It's about not bogging down the motor on your lathe. So I'm doing this at 350 RPM. Play it safe. You know, it's not a big lathe. It's not a 3 horsepower like, you know, I want. It's a Rycom with a 1.75 horsepower, but it's good enough. It works. I'm just kind of fiddling with it, trying to figure it out. It binds up a little bit. You got to clear the shavings out, readjust the tool rest to get the angle right. It seemed like I ran out of stroke, so I had to readjust it and move it. Then I also remembered to widen the curve so that the blade will fit in better. It's just one of those things that you got to play along with as you go, and you learn as you go. It feels like it's good. It feels like it should come out, so I give it, I'm testing, the blade's not hot. I give it a whack, it didn't come loose, so I go grab a problem solver. You know, one of my chainsaw scrunches. A scrunch is a combination of a screwdriver and wrench. I think leverage works better than impact sometimes, and it popped right on out. But you can see that there was still an inch of the bowl left at the bottom for the knife to go through. But it popped out with just one little tug on it, so it's perfectly fine. And there you have it. First time using the McNaughton tool, I was able to core it out and worked pretty good. Little baby bowl and a decent sized, regular sized bowl. So I just chuck it. Well, I didn't chuck it. I just started spinning it back up to speed and evening out the walls so that it dries even, and I find it good. And then I just round off the edges so that it's like a chamfer, so you don't have sharp corners, and that's supposed to reduce cracking while drying. Hopefully. We'll see. I don't believe I put any goop or wax or glue or anything on these blanks. We'll see. There it is. 2 nice little bowls out of 1 blank, out of a free log that I hauled off from Marketplace. So, I mean, turning can get expensive real fast, and this is a way to save some money. You know, if you can process your own bowl blanks, you're going to come ahead. And usually the equipment that you use will pay for itself within a few.